So a few weeks ago, I made a video on that time LEGO tried to make their own version of Command & Conquer, and wow, that blew up. So anyways, since the making of that video, I found out that there's actually a fan sequel in the works, but not just any fan sequel, rather a spiritual successor rebuilt from the ground up in the Unity engine in the form of a project called Crystal Conflict. It has full enhanced 3D graphics, new units, and in the future we can expect a remastering of the original campaign, and then some. Currently, you can only play the skirmish mode on one map, which is, funnily enough, it took me some time to recognize this, but it's actually the last map of the original Crystal Alien Conflict campaign, but right now that's all you can play, because the game is in more of a proof of concept or early prototype phase rather than a fully complete experience. However, both the Alien and Astro factions are fully playable, with the Astros being slightly more fleshed out than their green crystal-wielding counterparts. In addition to this, we get new, more modern designs of the old buildings that still feel like they fit right in with the classic Mars mission aesthetic. However, if you're not a fan of those, something I am personally a big fan of is that the developer has given us the option to toggle them off entirely and only use the classic models just remastered in a more visually appealing 3D engine. Gameplay-wise, while it definitely has some familiarity and overlap with its older Crystal Alien cousin, there is surprisingly more depth to it. Going into it mostly blind and expecting a one-to-one remake, I was quickly taken aback when my in-game economy tanked and made the current real-world economy look pristine by comparison. This game has a much greater emphasis on resource gathering and different strategies on how to do it. There are new units with which you can fight the enemy, but much like real warfare, if you don't have the industrial base to sustain the fight, you'll be conquered rather quickly. Crystal Conflict provides you not only with new units designed for battle, but also with new resource gathering units that will do things like grant you a passive income or increase the speed at which crystal fields regenerate. Think the Tiberium Spike or a growth stimulator from Tiberium Wars. Managing your economy in this game is just as crucial as managing your military, and I find that it adds a nice bit of depth to it without being overly complicated. As a result of this game design choice, quite a few units are increased in cost compared to the original, but like I said, if you manage your economy, you'll do decently well. Other gameplay changes include a removal of the original 5-unit cap, as well as the addition of queuing. You'll now no longer have to press the button every time you want something. You can queue up pretty much as many as you'd like. Another cool thing I saw is in the prototype map, there are little wrecks dotted around the level reminiscent of sets from the classic LEGO space themes. For some of these, if you sent an astronaut or alien drone up to one, they can actually commandeer it and use it themselves. These little things aren't super powerful, at least not yet, but it's a really nice feature to see added in and a good way to get an early game scout unit. Another thing that's pretty cool to see added is that the factions now have their own individual super weapons. In the original Crystal Alien Conflict, both factions basically just had a giant laser bomb as their super weapon, whereas here, while the Astro weapon stays mostly the same, the aliens have this really cool glassing beam type attack that also leaves behind a small pile of crystals that either team can mine. In addition to this and the new resource gathering units, there are also quite a few new combat units that we didn't see in the original game. Smaller sets, or ships that came with larger ones, all make an appearance, and the developer went out of their way to ensure that every single set from both waves of Mars mission was implemented into the game in one way or another, as well as adding a few of their own custom ones. The innovations don't stop here though, as a lot of the units also now have secondary abilities where they can deploy and serve as mobile bases, turrets, or even mining platforms. Things like the Drill Walker, which was present in the original game, can actually now be used properly, walking around the map and lasering anything that gets in its way, while also being able to be a hybrid mining platform like it was in the original. Some vehicles, particularly on the astronaut side of things, can even send out small recon or mining vessels to assist them. The developer has stated that this was largely inspired by the way he played with his Legos as a child, and I once again think that this was a fantastic approach and translated extremely well into gameplay. Like I said earlier, Crystal Conflict is very much in the prototype stage for now, so managing expectations is key. Much like the original, the AI will not build or expand their own bases. This is something that's going to be added in the future. The game is also not particularly well optimized, and the controls at times leave a little bit to be desired, with the map scrolling speed being fairly low. That being said, Crystal Conflict is still perfectly playable and a real treat to play at that. There are plans in the future to allow for more maps, but also multiplayer support as well, which would be awesome to see. Other than that, the only thing I think that could really be added here would be support for custom maps and a map editor, or if I really wanted to be over the top and wishful, Perhaps a Space Police 3 DLC sometime in the distant future? Yeah, I don't think so. That would be a lot of work, but if it could somehow become a thing, I would be absolutely ecstatic about it. Thus far, Crystal Conflict is ramping up to be an amazing project, and I highly look forward to what will come of it in the future. The game's only been out for about a year or so I have high hopes for it seeing that, and in the long run, I mean, I know this is a LEGO fan game, so they can't make money off of it, but if they could, I would gladly recommend this game on Steam. But hey, since it's free, you can download it and try it out yourself if you are in fact interested. A download link will be in the description below. With that, I wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you also to CrumbleCatGames for making such an amazing fan sequel. And as always, leave a like if you enjoyed, consider subscribing if you find this or my other content worthy, and as always, have a great day and stay safe. Goodbye.